It's movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island. 'Cause nothing's better than a motion video.
It's Movie Time. It's produced and hosted by John DeSando. Listen to shows and read reviews online at WCBE.org.
I'm John DeSando,
And I'm G Kline.
and this is It's Movie Time. Now, Ken, look, we're getting into summer, and we may get some good movies. All right? So we want to kind of relax a little bit, take a movie that doesn't take itself too seriously, and I picked out this movie called The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Well, this is a big budget film. This is a Guy Ritchie movie. We all know Guy Ritchie, of course, first as the former husband of Madonna.
Oh, I know, isn't that terrible? That poor guy.
But he has a long career of making movies, and his movies tend to follow a certain specific style of filmmaking, which I like to refer to as patriotic bloodbaths. Guy is very big on portraying a clear-cut good guys versus the bad guys. And the good guys are always good, the bad guys are left kind of ambiguous, but it's a good reason for them to be able to slaughter thousands of them in every conceivable way and not deal with the morality of it.
His movies are what I call loose.
I would say that, yes.
And all of his heroes are handsome, and they're all crack shots. And we will talk about, as we get into the podcast, your favorite, which is The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
The Man from U.N.C.L.E. is my favorite Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, right. So let's look at the ministry. So what I like about it, Ken, is that first of all, it has some historical accuracy.
It gets the names right.
Right. There was an operation in World War II.
There was an Operation Postmaster in World War II that involved the stealing of a ship out of a Spanish neutral port, which would have been considered an act of piracy.
And the reason for even Churchill to be very concerned is that these U-boats were knocking out British boats in the North Atlantic.
Well, the U-boats were introduced for the film. There was nothing really on board the real ship that justified stealing it. It was sitting in Africa on an island.
All right, stop it now. We're going to do that in the podcast.
We'll do that
very
in the
good,
podcast,
but I'm so appreciative of your fact.
But yet, for the movie purposes, the ship is loaded with the essential equipment needed by the U-boats in order to sink ships, which was keeping America out of the war because they couldn't get their troops to England because of the U-boats.
They couldn't get it across.
If we are to believe Guy Ritchie.
Yes, that's right. And that's another thing, when we're reporting this, we know we're not serious. And we know Guy Ritchie is not serious. What he wants to do is give us an entertaining film, which he did for me. Not as entertaining as I would hope it to be. Because I remember the first thing you reported to me was that it could have used more humor. And I think you were right.
It definitely could have used more humor. The thing about these patriotic bloodbaths is when they're done right, they can actually be quite good. A good example of somebody doing this right is Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah.
Tarantino did a fantastic job with that. You felt strongly for each of the characters. The characters had personalities, that you knew who they were. And then probably one of the pinnacles of this kind of filmmaking was Sergio Leone's Fistful of Dynamite, sometimes known as Duck You Sucker.
Oh, all right.
Which is
was that Fistful of Dollars or Dynamite?
Well, there's Fistful of Dollars, and then there's Fistful of, or for a few dollars
and
more.
Let me interject here that the Guy Ritchie's reliance on this genre has made him the top dog in doing this kind of thing. That is, you mentioned how he's got this thing down. He could plug it in to his program, and he'd have just a different name.
He does variations of these. His last film, which was less than a year ago, was The Covenant, which was a film about an American soldier going back to Afghanistan to try to save the family of the interpreter who protected him during his time in the war.
Ken, will you stop this? We're going to do this in the podcast. And
Okay.
You just can't wait for that capacious mind of yours to pull out all of this stuff. And yes, we will, and thank you for that. Let's look at one of the surprises for me. Henry Cavill.
Mm-hmm.
And I say a surprise because I've been neutral about him, or in the back. Obviously, everybody knows he was Superman, And then he's done some others. He even did Argyle last year, which
Yeah.
he wasn't, the role that he played wasn't that dynamic, I thought, in Argyle. But here, I'm getting some real grit out of him. I'm getting some good stuff, with not enough, but some good irony, toss-off lines.
Well, Henry is one of Guy Ritchie's go-to actors.
Yeah.
He used him in Man from U.N.C.L.E., and that was the moment when I suddenly realized that Henry can actually act,
Good.
because he did a dead-on Robert Vaughn from the original series. And from then on, yeah, he's actually, once he broke from that Superman role, he's turned out to be a remarkable actor. So he's back on board for this one. Carrie Elways is back on this one. So we're seeing a lot of the regulars
Right.
that Guy Ritchie likes to work with.
And he's doing the Lee Marvin job here.
Yes.
He
Yeah.
brings them all together. He's in charge. And you even have the beefy Swede who could be another Dwayne Johnson somewhere.
Well, and that's one of the things I stumble with this movie, is that he falls into the same trap as the Marvel Cinematic Universe does, where the characters are more defined by their special powers than they are by their own personalities.
Yeah, I think that's a great comment.
Yeah, and then you got the Swede who can shoot a German with an arrow from 1,000 feet away and get them every time. Henry plays the lead, who's the brains of the outfit. And they're not developed enough. They're almost more like the Marvel characters, where you look at them and you're introduced to them through action by what they're able to do, but not who they are.
One that I was impressed being somewhat developed was Aiza Gonzalez.
Mm-hmm.
And she played Marjorie Stewart.
Yeah.
She played the femme fatale, sharpshooter. Ooh, she is a good sharpshooter. And she looks great in her outfits.
She's good in the movie.
And she's just good enough to seduce the lead, the commandant or whatever, our lead German.
Yeah, the German commander of the on the island.
Yeah, and so I was somewhat impressed with her, although, and she had to prove to him that she wasn't Jewish. This is my take. She's and he does figure that out. So anyway, she as a femme, as an addition to these guys, I think she was good. How are you feeling about her?
No, I thought she was very good in the role she played. I could have done without the Jewish anti-Semitism subplot in this. Once again, you're just trying to demonize every German character in the movie, and using the Holocaust to do it, I think, is a low blow.
As much of a hoot as some of the blow-ups and the shooting, and believe me, the job that they do is way too easy.
Well, this is definitely Guy Ritchie's biggest body count.
Oh, and there's no really resistance to them.
No.
They even when they get on the island, there's nobody there.
It's a team of 6 people that managed to take down about 1,000 Germans during the course of the film without a scratch.
Right.
And we're not giving anything away.
Oh,
by saying
no,
that
not at all.
They're indestructible.
And we're doing a Keanu Reeves deal here, where you just point your gun and you got it.
It's very much in the style of the John Wick movies, but while the John Wick movies are more choreographed ballets,
Right.
this is more like Inglourious Bastards or a Sergio Leone movie where. And those movies go back to the old cowboys and Indians movies of the 40s and 50s, where if you're a cowboy, you're a good guy. If you're an Indian, you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
And that's as much character development as you get.
Yeah, the Germans are just plain stupid in this movie, and we know they weren't. They gave us an awful lot of trouble, and they had quite a sophisticated machine working on World War II. But the way Guy Ritchie handles it, they're all dumb.
They're just fodder for Guy Ritchie. They're another excuse for him to be able to have a high body count in this movie without anybody questioning,
Right.
wait, why are we killing all these people?
Right. Well, is there anything in this movie that can support intellectuals like ourselves?
Only that it is very loosely based on a real World War II event. And if it gets you interested enough that you actually go and read up on the real World War II Operation Postmaster, then it's done some good. But it definitely takes so many liberties. It's really just a fantasy action film. But I would be hesitant to recommend going to see it. I would say use your time, go up on Netflix and watch Fistful of Dynamite or Inglourious Bastards. You're going to get a better film than this.
But I certainly feel that it's an enjoyable time. I mean, but I go with Wayne, and he's easy to please. And so the two of us sit on an almost empty auditorium and just laugh and yell at all the inconsistencies and the stupid Germans and how slick these guys are. We enjoy it just the way Guy Ritchie would like
If it had been as good as Man from U.N.C.L.E., I would be raving
Oh,
about it.
yeah.
And Guy Ritchie is capable of making good movies.
And you mentioned Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious
But,
Bastards,
right,
see,
it owes an
Tarantino.
awful lot.
Oh, yeah.
G Kline, the movie is, now it's gonna take half our time just to say it, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. What's your recommendation?
I would say if you're a fan of John Wick movies, of mindless action films, then this is another one for you.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, I'd say just go on Netflix and call up Inglourious Bastards, or better yet, Duck You Sucker,
No, that
and see a really good movie.
That would make you too serious. What we're talking about is just being silly, immature, the way Wade and I are when we go.
Yeah, silly action.
This is our break.
Well, it is.
Movie time with John DeSando and his friends online. So everything is gonna be just fine. From the top down to the bottom. He's gonna let you know if you should stay home or if you should go. Might even yell if it's a spectacle. From San Francisco to Long Island.